Hello, good afternoon. This is Mr. Adv A S Khan from Pune, Maharashtra State, India. As promised yesterday, I have come with two important Supreme Court judgments on capital gain and Supreme Court judgment on them. So let us go ahead and look into these two important judgments. Please note down the appeal details. Appeal number is 2979. Year is 1982. Date of decision is 307/1997. ITR details are year 1982, volume 138 and page number 19. I would repeat. Appeal number is 2979. Year is 1982. Date of decision is 30th July 1997. ITR details are year 1982, volume 138 and page number 19. Facts of the case are like this. First, assessee in this case, assessee is in appeal. Assessee is in appeal. Assessment year is 1971-1972. Assessee sold his assets and taken cost of acquisition as market value in terms of section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 of Income Tax Act 1961. AO rejected this cost of acquisition and inserted figure of a written down value as cost of acquisition. These are the facts, important facts of this appeal. And what is the dispute? Dispute is like this. Argument of assessee. Section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 permits me to take cost of acquisition as fair market value. This is the argument advanced by assessee. He says, section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 permits me to take cost of acquisition as fair market value. But this argument, revenue has rejected this argument, and what it has to say, section 50 into bracket Roman 1 covers assessee's case, and under this section assessee has to take written down value as cost of acquisition because assessee's assets are depreciable assets. This is the site taken by revenue. Section 50 into bracket Roman 1 covers assessee's case, and this section tells that when the assets are depreciable assets, and when they are transferred, the written down value to be taken as what you call cost of acquisition. This is what revenue has to say. This is the nature of dispute. Now, what is the question of law? Whether the provisions of section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 are applicable in this case or not. Whether the provisions of section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 are applicable in this case or not. That section 55 says when you transfer assets, depreciable asset, your assets, non-depreciable assets, then that market price of the asset to be taken into account. That is what assessor's argument was there. This section permits me to take the cost of acquisition as fair market value. So same question that Supreme Court has got the same question before him, whether what assessor says, whether that we can accept his position that section 55(2)(1) permits him to take cost of acquisition as fair market value. So this is the question I would read again, whether the provisions of section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket Roman 1 are applicable in this case or not. And what is the decision? What is the decision held? No, decision is against assessee and in favor of revenue. Held no, that is the provisions of section 55 into bracket 2 into bracket 1 are not attracted in this case. That is what decision Honorable Supreme Court has given in this case. And what are the reasons given by Honorable Supreme Court for their decision? First reason is assessee's assets are depreciable assets and cost of acquisition of such assets must be taken as a written down value agreeable to the provisions of section 50 into bracket Roman 1. This is the first reason they have given. And what is the second reason? Section 55(2) is applicable to non-depreciable assets. Section 55(2), 55 into bracket 2 is applicable to non-depreciable assets to find out their cost of acquisition. They are comparing 50 and 55, section 50 and section 55. 55 talks about cost of acquisition for what you call non-depreciable assets, and section 50 talks about general assets other than depreciable assets. Section 55 is applicable to non-depreciable asset. That is the second reason Honorable Supreme Court is giving. This section 55(2) is applicable to non-depreciable assets to find out the cost of acquisition. And section 51 is for depreciable assets. Section 50 is for depreciable assets and section 55 is for non-depreciable assets. That is, these two sections are important. Then third reason Honorable Supreme Court has given like this. They observed such type of cases. This section 51 and section 55. Depreciable assets and non-depreciable assets. What cost of acquisition to be taken in each case. Supreme Court has observed that such type of cases would not arise in future. Such type of cases would not arise in future because the legislature has amended all these provisions with effect from 1/4/1988. So here ends the judgment. Good judgment, worth noting this resolution of these things. And what is important here, though the provisions have gone and new provisions have come, still we must know the difference of cost of acquisition, difference between the cost of acquisition of depreciable assets and cost of acquisition of non-depreciable assets when they are transferred, and what cost of acquisition should be shown in the capital gain computation formula. Okay, now we take another case. Please note down the appeals. Appeal number is like this: 5426. Year is 1997. Date of decision is 13th March 2001. 13th March 2001. ITR details are year 2001, volume 248, page number 818. I would repeat. Appeal number is 5426. Year is 1997. Date of decision 13th March 13th March 2001. ITR details: year is 2001, volume is 248 and page number 818. Now, facts of the case. In this case, revenue is in appeal. Assessment year appears to be 1996-97. Assessee sold their immovable property. There are two assessees here in this case. Assessees, that is why assessees. Assessees sold their immovable property at a price less than fair market value by specified percentage. Assessees sold their immovable property at a price less than fair market value by specified percentage. In view of such undervaluation of the property, assessing officer applied the preemptive purchase provisions as contained in Chapter 20C of Income Tax Act 1961 and also issued order for preemptive purchase of the property after giving hearing to the assessees. Assessees challenged this order in the courts and the matter finally came before Honorable Supreme Court for decision. And now, what is the nature of dispute? Assessees argument. We have equal shares in the property and each one of us sold his half share in the property, and the consideration received for such half share is shown in the return for tax purpose. That is his argument. We have equal shares in the property and each one of us sold his half share in the property, and the consideration received for such half share is shown in the return for tax purpose. That is his cycle. Now what revenue has to say in the dispute? Agreement to sell the property shows that the assessees sold their property at a price less than fair market value of the property by prescribed percentage, and hence order for preemptive purchase as per the provisions of chapter 20 capital C of Income Tax Act 1961. I would repeat what revenue has to say about this dispute. Agreement to sell the property shows that the assessees sold their property at a price less than fair market value of the property by prescribed percentage, and hence order for preemptive purchase as per the provisions of chapter 20 capital C of Income Tax Act 1961. This is the argument by revenue. Then what is the question of law before Honorable Supreme Court? Whether provisions of preemptive purchase contained in chapter 20 capital C are applicable or not in this case. This is the question of law before Supreme Court. And what is their decisions? Held provisions of chapter 20 C are applicable in the case. They said provisions of chapter 20 C of Income Tax Act 1961 as they existed at the appropriate time are applicable in this case. Decision is in favor of the revenue and against the assessees. Decision is in favor of the revenue and against the assessees. And what reason they have given for their judgment? First reason, provisions of chapter 20 C are brought in the Act to prevent tax evasion. Provisions of chapter 20 C are brought in the taxation law or in the Income Tax Act to prevent tax evasion. Revenue stealing is done by showing sale consideration less than fair market value of property. Normally, to avoid taxpayers, they show what you call sale consideration less than fair market price of the property. For tax purpose, such fair market value of property is taken into account, which the assessees have not done in this case. Here ends the judgment. Okay. Now, friends, I would end my series of these lectures on Income Tax Act law, Income Tax Act 1961. We have seen number of topics. We have studied, discussed number of topics of Income Tax Act 1961, and I hope my sharing of knowledge would be beneficial to you in your study for this Income Tax Act 1961. Though Income Tax Act 1961 has a limited scope, in the market or in the taxation world, still those who have got deep interest in the taxation law, they can study in depth the provisions of Income Tax Act 1961 with the help of my lectures. That all my lectures have been uploaded for your benefit, and the link, the way to reach my all earlier videos or all videos on this taxation law, right from the first video to this last video, you can have access, or you can go to this link. I would give the link address. At Ayazuddin Khan, AYAZUDDINKHAN, at Ayazuddin Khan, one without gap, at Ayazuddin Khan 1982, at Ayazuddin Khan 1982. This is the link. If you write this address on the Google search or on the search box of YouTube, you will get all these my videos for study purpose. So once again I thank you for watching my all these videos, and they were good from the viewership. I gather that I got the very, very good response. Though the subject is dry, I find that there are people like me who are also seriously interested in taxation law. This taxation law, as I told you, their commerciality, or from commercial angle, for earning angle. If you study this taxation law, you have to divide your study in two parts. In the sense, if you focus only on practical things, that is filing of return, etc., then one scope is there for filing of return. If you understand everything nicely, so if you become income tax filer like chartered accountant, and you can upload the income tax returns of individual partnership up to partnership, because company secretary you cannot upload. This is only chartered accountants can upload. Okay, so you can upload those returns also, but that should have some audit documents, audit report, and all important things, legal things are necessary for uploading purpose. So this is one area where you have got scope for earning the income by using your knowledge, this taxation law knowledge. Then other field is handling the legal dispute, handling the income tax disputes, For that purpose also, you must have the deep knowledge of taxation law. Then the provisions of taxation, provisions of each head of income, then how to compute, then what is the rate of tax, what are the deduction, what are the special deduction, what are the general deduction, and what are the TDS rates, and what are the taxation rates. All these things you must have very good knowledge, and you must have before you read a reckoner or your study material or your notes for ease of doing business. They call it in a commercial term, ease of doing business. You can have that. and plus then you must know the what you call Supreme Court judgments, that you must have the habit of reading at least one judgment on each head of income every week. At least every week you must go in detail, take note down of the judgment, note down appeal number, date of decision, ITR details, etc. So when you get case, when you first you have to be with some established what you call established firm who deals with income tax disputes, where you have to join as honorary member of that firm or paid member of that firm, and learn how the work is done in that legal firm. So that way you would benefit and you would get some return. And then everybody has got what you call good future. Put the efforts and go ahead like this. So I will take your leave now, and I was with you for I think a year or so with all my lectures, and I enjoyed that lecture. And third scope, I forgot to tell you third scope. Third scope, first is practical work, that filing of income tax. There you have got scope to earn the income. Then second scope is in the what you call working with legal firm and tackling the income tax disputes, and that filing of return online, etc. That area is that. So they are for earning the income, provided you must have this sound knowledge of taxation law and practical work, how it is done. After joining legal firm, you would get the idea. Then third scope is about your academic field. You can have, you can go to academic field. You can have post graduation in this, not only in taxation law, all law, tax related law, GST, custom duty, then income tax, all these things. There is a lot of scope. You can have combined knowledge of all these acts, and you can make yourself perfect and useful to the market. That is my advice. Finally, hope you would have liked my these lectures. If somebody has not seen and they are seeing for the first time, I have given the what you call link in this lecture, current lecture, so they can refer to that link, reach my videos and study them if they are interested. Okay, thank you very much. All the best.